Thank you. Members, we've had a very busy day, a busy week. Some of you have been off the floor, on the floor. And this is the last set of amendments that I have on this particular subject for this particular year. And I just want to do a quick review of how we got here so that you, if you missed it, you understand what's happened. Back in July, I introduced SCR38 introduced it. It went to the Rules Committee. It was referred to the Judiciary Committee. It was set for a hearing then. It was heard. It was adopted and amended. It went out of the committee, that policy committee, 5-0. Then it came to the Senate floor, and the very same day it came to the Senate floor and it was eligible to be heard, the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China delivered unsigned letters of opposition to Senate leadership and to all of us on the Senate floor. It then was referred from this floor back to the Rules Committee, and I have, since then, I have given 17 opportunities to the members of this floor to allow that resolution to be heard. This will be the 18th opportunity to hear this resolution. This resolution is very straightforward. It's very simple. It simply recognizes Falun Gong as a meditative faith that's principled in truth, compassion, and forbearance. It also recognizes their 18-year plight of peaceful resistance to the Chinese Communist government, which outlawed and banned them and has been accused of harvesting their organs for sale in transplants all around the world. If you look above me today, right now, starting at the clock and working your way around to just behind me, you're going to see the faces of Chinese victims of torture. All these people have been tortured by the Chinese Communist government, and they have moved here under asylum because they want to practice their faith in liberty, and they don't want to have fear of being arrested and persecuted. And finally, the resolution simply recognizes, if you wave up at them, they'll wave back to you, and then you'll know who they are. So people watching my speech won't be able to see them, but certainly, and Kevin, thank you for, President Pro Tem, thank you for waving. So the third component of the resolution says that our Congress in 2016, with 17 Democrat co-authors, voted unanimously for House Resolution 343. And that's all it does, those three elements. And yet, I've had difficulty having it heard on this floor ever since we received the letter from the Chinese consulate asking that you not allow it to come to the floor. Now, I know that we have rules that have recently been implemented, so I'm going to ask the President, may I read from Dianne Feinstein's press release?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. So, this isn't the first time that China's tried to interfere with our state politics. Earlier this year, June 22nd, 2017, China's state-controlled newspaper threatened UC San Diego because they were hosting the Dalai Lama. And Senator Feinstein, and by the way, this is a great contrast between U.S. senators and state senators. You see, this United States senator stood up to the Chinese bullying while we have kowtowed to the Chinese bullying. She said, I find it unconscionable that a reporter for the Global Times, a mouthpiece for the Chinese Communist Party, would threaten UC San Diego and its chancellor and students for inviting the Dalai Lama to speak. The newspaper's portrayal of the Dalai Lama as an anti-China separatist is also patently false, much like many of the claims that were given in the letter that was sent to you. She later went on to say, the Dalai Lama's desire to end religious persecution for his people doesn't make him a separatist. It makes him a peaceful leader who should serve as an inspiration to all students. The Chinese government and the media outlets it directly controls should recognize this and not threaten Americans or American institutions. Members, I think there's no greater contrast between real senators and state senators. She stood up to the Chinese aggression, the letter, the force. We know that there are 6 states that have passed this. Just recently, I read to you about Minnesota and what they did, and yet they also received the same letter or similar letters from the Chinese consulate in Chicago. All these people have stepped up on the side of righteousness, and yet on this floor, we can't seem to allow to have this heard. I get it. If you support the Chinese regime of oppression, you can do it. Vote yes, vote no against the resolution. But if you stand for the same principles that I believe that you stand for, that you've shown in the past, for religious expression and against atrocities and persecution, then allow this to come to the floor. Don't table it. Allow your voice to be heard. You know, we're not just representing our constituents, but we're recognizing new Americans, people here who are here for religious, because of religious persecution. Let's stand up and give them a voice. They couldn't get a voice in their country of origin, but now that they've come to the United States on asylum and we're accepting them into our society and accepting them, let's give them a voice. Let's speak for them. Let's let them see what true democracy stands for. Members, I ask that you allow this simple resolution that only has 3 components, to be heard on this floor. Thank you.